Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 217 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on June 25th, 2024. Man, I hope you're all doing well on this wonderful summer day. We have been testing and analyzing pretty much constantly here at Pew Science, chipping away at our backlog little by little, but in a consistent fashion. Yeah. Which is all you can hope to do, really. How do you eat an elephant? That's the question I would pose to you. Do you know how? Well, you have to do it one bite at a time. Yeah, ancient elephant eater secret, I'm told. Yeah, so this episode will be primarily, if not entirely, technical discussion. We'll start off in the first topic with a specific talk about the recently published AC22 from Savage, that little aluminum monocore rimfire silencer. This will be the technical deep dive for the article published last week. Then, on the second topic, I want to hit something equally, if not more technical, but do it in a general broad sense. And the reason I want to do it that way, I want to reiterate some facts for all of you and get you thinking at the system level instead of so much at the silencer level. I think that's important. A lot of people just focus on the silencers when they really should be focusing on the whole entire suppressed weapon system and understanding the consequences of doing so. Okay? And speaking of systems, check out the photo that I'm posting with this episode. Remember that song from when you were a kid? You'd watch Sesame Street, and it was like, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. Remember that? Yeah. See if you can guess which piece of apparatus is the clear outlier in that photograph. And you may or may not get it right. There's some tricks in there, but I thought it was interesting. Just know that the way it's configured is mandatory for its actual use. And so the outlier may or may not be something you think. And for the reason you think. There's your hint. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about the sponsors. If you don't want to hear about those, because we've gotten some, YouTube comments where someone says, oh, you didn't. It's like, then skip to the topic, bro. Okay. If you don't want to hear about the people who make this possible for you to listen to, just skip it. Okay. Use the timestamps. They're for you. The J Situation Podcast is proudly sponsored by Legion Athletics. That's true. Nothing you do, exercise, sports, anything is worth doing without consistency. You have to do it all the time if you want to be good at it. Legion Athletics can help you do that. They have whey protein, pre-workout, post-workout. They even have creatine now. They have most of what you need for your supplement game, okay? Visit legionathletics.com. There's a link in the show notes, code word PewScience, to save 20% off of your first order, which is pretty nuts. And then if you use that code forever, keep using it, you'll save 10% off everything forever. Now, I'm pretty sure they have like a 4th of July sale too or something like that. Go to the website. I think it's like buy one, get one free, or buy one, get 50% off, or Sunday. It's one of those like, come down to Mattress Giant and get a mat. It's a sale. Go buy stuff, get more free stuff. Use the code word PewScience. It'll be great. Get swole. The podcast is also brought to you by Top Gun Range Houston. Not confirmed, but probably the best range in Texas. No, just kidding. But if you're in the Houston area, they're worth checking out. A 15-lane indoor range, largest firearm rental fleet in the whole state of Texas. You can rent pistols and rifles and shotguns, machine guns. You can even rent silencers. Put them on the Pew Science test hosts. See what they do in actual weapon system operation. It's pretty good. Website's topgunrange.com. You can find them on Instagram at Top Gun Range. It's awesome. High-End Armament Technologies also sponsors this podcast. In the photograph that I posted with today's episode, you see that Pixels on Target Voodoo S, a thermal clip-on weapon sight that I have on there? Guess where I bought that? Well, it wasn't down at your local gun store. No. Where do you think you can get a Voodoo S thermal weapon sight? Do you think you can just order that online, willy-nilly? You can't. You can't, dude. It's like an issued SOCOM optic. Where are you going to get things like that? Robert and his crew at High-End Armament. I'm telling you, places like this, I know you don't shop there all the time. You're like, oh my gosh, that's too rich for my blood. It most likely is. It's too rich for mine. Okay? But sometimes you need to go down and dirty in a lunatic fringe scenario, and you might end up dropping used car money on a gun part. What, you're too proud to do that? Visit highendarms.com. Tell them Jay sent you. And this podcast is also brought to you by Silencer Shop. That's right, largest firearm distributor in the world. You can use their kiosk, do your fingerprints and photos electronically. And in turn, you will cut down on errors. You will simplify your silencer purchasing process. You will also receive a money-back guarantee, which is actually pretty valuable, I have to say, especially with this fast approval times. You know what I'm saying? It's great. No transfer fees, no paperwork errors, just you and your silencer with no drama. Truly a silencer ownership simplified. And most importantly of all, this podcast is brought to you by the Pew Science Laboratory. I'm Jay. Nice to meet you. I'm the technical director of the lab. In the interest of public education, we sponsor this podcast. We do this podcast and run a public research effort with the express purpose of continuing to push the silencer industry forward one test at a time with topical analytical products for you at a pretty high rate. Okay, visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating. It's really the backbone of all this. It's the simplest, most accurate hearing-safe rating for suppressed small arms. It's based on true human sound perception, guys. It's inner ear response. It's like, how is the human body reacting to these complex phenomena? Well, that's what we're breaking it all down for you, okay? Of the entire gunshot, we don't just look at part of it. We're looking at the entire gunshot from before the combustion takes place all the way until all the combustion is gone. From the weapon system, all the mechanical operation is ceased. Everything is complete, okay? It's the home of the silencer sound standard. 7 sections, the most in-depth and accurate silencer data analysis in the world. And it's not only about sound suppression. There's a lot of other information you can find in those articles if you read them. And once you start to understand it all, boy, are you powerful. And it's not just about sound. Trust. Okay, check it out on pewscience.com. You can support this podcast. You can support Pew Science, and you can support all the public testing we do by joining with a membership at pewscience.com. That would actually help a lot. Helps us keep this going, keep the lights on, keep this podcast going. It's all related. There's a donate feature on the website if you don't want to join monthly, which is fine. And you know what? If times are tight, and they'll say you lost your job, you're down and out, you're selling guns to eat, it's no problem. Just throw us a solid and tell people on iTunes or Spotify or YouTube or that, you know what? In these trying times, this podcast is good. Okay. We just want to help normalize these suppressed small arms. 2 topics today. Topic 1, sound signature review. 6144 or 6155 or 6154? It's 6154. Did I get that wrong last time on the podcast? No, I didn't. I have some notes, and I'm just not as quick and accurate as I usually am. Yeah, 2 newborn babies at home will do that to you. And by the way, if you guys hear some crying on this podcast today, no, we're not torturing our children. They're just having a hard time at bedtime today. Okay, it's been interesting. Sound signature review 6154. The Savage Arms AccuCan AC22 on the CZ452 bolt action. Okay, this surprised a lot of people. We're gonna the performance is quite interesting. We're gonna talk technical today. Okay, so all your questions will be answered. Topic 2, host variability. Yes, very technical. Suppressed system performance depends on the holistic system. Which systems are the most susceptible to change, to large performance swings? Given user-changeable parameters, what can happen to your suppressed weapon system? Well, when you think about which systems are most susceptible, the AR-15 is pretty high up there. Okay, we'll talk about that. It's very important for you to start to think about this on the system level. Okay, so where's my darn pen, dude? 1 second. Okay, topic 1 at a time of 9 minutes and 24 seconds. Okay, cool. Topic 1, sound signature review 6155. Savage Arms AccuCan AC22 on the 16-inch barrel bolt-action rifle with CCI standard velocity ammunition. 1 second. Okay, so this is a monocore silencer. Simple. It's a technical discussion that's going to be anything but simple. And when you look at this review, it was a cool one, right? Again, traditional monocore here, guys. And when I mean traditional, I do mean traditional. Okay, we're talking straight up slant baffle style. Okay, the blast baffle, or the far proximal part of the removable core, if you're a purist, okay, is a flat washer. Okay, then you have 3 pairs of washers at 45-degree angle offsets. Okay, as you go down that core, and then what do they do at the end? Well, they got a final slant washer, then they got an end cap exit. So, like I was telling you in the introduction to the article last episode, they're using progressive volumetric spacing here. Okay, they are. Okay, one second. Excuse me. They're using progressive volumetric spacing, and this is an old school principle that really will always work for things like this. It will always work, because despite companies changing, people changing, models changing, physics remains unchanged in this universe. Okay, in the universe in which you and I reside, as far as I know, barring any type of simulation or dream state that I guess we can't really rule out. You know, I've been thinking about that lately with AI and everything. It's like, what are we doing? Barring any kind of act of God or simulation man, the universe still operates on some basic principles. Okay, one of those principles is the cooling of expanding gases. Okay, and so before we get into the super nerdy physics, I want to step through the article, and this is how we'll do this. I'll point out things about the silencer, both in physical characteristics and its performance, and how those things are intertwined. And then I think what we'll do, we'll dissect one of the most common but overlooked types of silencers in modern times. I think that's actually what this is going to turn into if we play this right. This is a lightweight aluminum 22 monocore. So, if you've been around silencers for a long time, we're gonna dissect how this works, and you're gonna find out the good, bad, and the ugly about what can happen and what does happen, what doesn't. Okay, so go ahead and pull up Sound Signature Review 6154. Now this is the 154th article in Section 6 of the Silencer Sound Standard at pewscience.com. That's crazy, because it's not just a test, right? It's not just, oh, he released another test. No. This is an analytical test report. We're not just giving you, oh, here's a suppression rating. No, there's a lot here. Okay? Testing without analysis is not useful to you. There's a lot of analysis that goes into the suppression rating, and that's very useful. It has a high degree of utility. Very important, okay? Pull up the member article if you are a member. It will help you. If you are not a member, that is okay. Pull up the public free version. Totally fine. No man left behind. And right away, I have to say this. I said it last week. Big thanks to Savage Arms for trusting our laboratory to perform the work. They are a very large company, a very pivotal company, we think, in the outdoor space in general. Okay, they're responsible for arming the citizens of the United States with rifles for many years, myself included. So we are honored to assist them with the characterization of their silencer systems. It's a pleasure. It's a professional and personal pleasure to be able to satisfy this contract, and I couldn't be more happy that it was a success. Okay, so we'll start at the top. This thing is 5.9 inches long. Yes, almost 6 inches, barely. Not the smallest 22 silencer you're ever going to see, but definitely not the largest either. Yeah, what it has in length is made up for in weight. Yes, and this is an erratum actually from last time. Boy, is there egg on my face. We erroneously listed and discussed this silencer as weighing 2.8 ounces. That is incorrect. It actually weighed 3.3 ounces as tested. So that is our mistake in publication, and a mistake that I made on the podcast last week. So I apologize to you for that. I'm bringing it up because nonetheless, 3.3 ounces, whatever it is, 3.3 ounces for any silencer is incredibly light. So the primary conclusion from last time doesn't change, right? As we spoke about last time, having this hang off the end of your barrel is not much of a hindrance. Okay. That's the thrust of my point there. Okay, that still doesn't change. That half an ounce multiplied by the moment arm just really doesn't change the handling. Okay, so with regard to how the weight is achieved, the core and the tube are aluminum, 7075 T6 aluminum. The mount is titanium. Okay, so very lightweight. And I think I mentioned this before, aluminum has a relatively high thermal conductivity, doesn't it? When compared to some other materials and silencers like steel or titanium, okay, aluminum has a very high thermal conductivity for a metal in general. So, along with the internal design of the silencer, that is helping the performance. So, what does it do on the 16-inch 22 bolt gun? Well, the bottom line up front here for the performance is that it gets a 94.5 composite suppression rating on the 16-inch barrel CZ452 bolt-action rifle with CCI standard velocity 40 grain ammunition. Okay, that's 93.3 at the muzzle, 86.9 at the ear. Incredibly quiet. Incredibly quiet. Up there with the quietest stuff we've tested. Really? And that goes for both public testing that you've seen and privately that we've done for clients and internal research. This is up there. I can tell you unequivocally, this is one of the quietest silencers we've tested on this gun with that ammo. Okay, so it is doing incredibly well. I can tell you that. I can tell you that confidently. Okay, so remember, and this is actually sometimes people forget, for those of you folks living in different areas, the velocity of a CCI standard velocity 40 grain projectile out of a 16-inch barrel should be subsonic, should be lower than the speed of sound in air in the medium in which you are shooting. In the places where your temperature is incredibly low, for, I don't know, maybe if you're in Alaska during winter, it might be possible that the speed of sound drops, okay, and some projectiles that would normally be subsonic go supersonic. It's not the velocity of your projectile is changing, it's that the sound speed in the medium is changing, okay? Some people have problems with that, depending on where they live. So be cognizant of it. The speed of sound in a medium is influenced by many things. In air, the temperature is by far the most influential parameter for that change. Okay, that's important to understand. Okay, you don't take my word for it. You can calculate this yourself. You can get a textbook or you can use the internet with the Google and do that. Okay, so 94.5 composite suppression rating. That's wild. It's very quiet. And so what I want to do with you today, I'm going to look at the signatures and see how it's achieving this. Let's look at what we call the silencer's fingerprint. Okay, let's look at the fingerprint. Scroll down past the table. And you will come to some waveform plots on your journey. Figure 1A and Figure 1B. Both of these figures are showing you blast overpressure in the free field. That is what these are showing you. You can talk about sound all you want, and chasing decibels is sometimes what people say. They are frankly so far off the mark, it's criminal. And that's because they come from a time where people were reporting decibels to you. That's not what we're doing. We're characterizing system behavior. Okay, so I really want you to use the vocabulary correctly. It's going to make you better. You're going to know more. Knowing more is so awesome. I don't understand the resistance to knowing more. Why would you not want to learn? It doesn't make sense to me. It's crazy. It's almost a stubborn lunacy to me. If you don't want to learn something, then go somewhere else. You're in the wrong place, dude. You're in the wrong place. Okay, Figure 1A and Figure 1B, put your thinking caps on. Both of these figures are showing you, again, blast overpressure in the free field 1 meter left of the silencer's end cap at the mil standard sensor elevation. Understand, there is a specific location where they're showing you the phenomenology of the system. Specifically there. In Figure 1A, you can see something that should right away tell you a couple things about the silencer. Okay, let's walk through them together. 1, the amplitude is low, relatively. Yes, the blowdown is a little bit longer than normal too. Okay, so you're looking. What did I just say? I took you to 2 dimensions right away. I took you to the dimension on the vertical axis, and I took you to the dimension on the horizontal axis. We looked at the pressure, the blast pressure amplitude in the free field, and we looked at the blast pressure duration in the free field. Pressures on the vertical axis, duration, or the time domain, is on the horizontal axis. I have a little trick for you. Just when you were in school and you took algebra, do you know the difference between domain and range? When I was a kid, I used to think of it like this. I was thinking that a cow lived on a range, and his domain he would walk through over time. And I don't know why that stuck with me, but the domain is usually plotted on the horizontal axis. So in this, when I say to you, and I know you're going to make fun of me for that stupid little, like, not limerick, but little, like, memory device that I used when I was a child. It must have been like something, I don't know, teacher was dumb and I had to figure it out myself, whatever. What I'm saying is, like, when I talk to you guys and I say in the time domain, the reason I'm saying things like in the time domain is because sometimes I might tell you something like in the frequency domain. And if I hop domains when speaking with you and I talk about an amplitude in whatever measure we're looking at, the discussion will change dramatically, and the points and connotation will change dramatically, because the frequency domain and the time domain present different information. So I can tell you that in the public articles, all of the plots you're seeing that have a dependence, like they have a variation with a in a domain, they're all showing the time domain. Now, in the research supplements for members, you may see things happening in the frequency domain, which is a completely different animal, and I need you to understand that they're not. You can't just hop without doing some math. Okay, I told you this is gonna be technical. I'm not beating a dead horse, but I'm being very specific. I don't want to keep saying things like, oh, blast pressure and domain without you understanding what I mean. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so what did I say? 2 dimensions. Your amplitude's low. Cool. Your duration is high. Cool. 2 dimensions. We're already talking about it. We don't even have to speak. We don't have to say a number yet. I just want you to get a feel for, on this scale that I'm trying to keep that scale the same for all these bolt gun tests for the 22. So you get a feel. I want you to have an appreciation for the holistic pulse you're seeing, the impulsive event, the transient that you are taking in with your eyes, that your ears will take in when you shoot. Okay, that's what I want you to really connect with this. Okay, so why would the amplitude be very low, and why would the blowdown be a little bit longer duration than normal? Why would that be physically? Take the math, take what I'm talking, and what is the physical manifestation of the behavior that you're looking at in the first plot? What is the physical manifestation of that? There's 2 reasons, and those reasons are coupled together physically. The physics are coupled. The first is that there's generous expansion volume in the silencer. Okay, basic premise of subsonic regime silencer design since the inception of the device invention. But the more nuanced reason, you see the signature, you see it at the amplitude, you see it, is the way the gas is expanding and the efficiency with which it has been tuned to occur. Okay? Remember earlier, I think just a couple of minutes ago, I was speaking about progressive volumetric expansion. And that being an old school technique, simply relying on physics that have remained unchanged the entire time silencer has existed. You remember that? Okay, so, well, this is that in action. Okay, the first expansion chamber, or you can call that colloquially, hard word to say. Commonly, you can refer to the first expansion chamber as the blast chamber. Okay, it's formed by the monocore blast baffle and the mount. That's your first expansion chamber. Okay, that's what it is. We call it a blast chamber because the muzzle blast goes into it first. It is, by definition, the first expansion chamber outside the muzzle. I mean, technically, the first expansion chamber is the barrel. Technically, the throat of the chamber, but we do call this in silencer analysis and combustion analysis parlance, the first expansion chamber is the blast chamber of the apparatus, of the silencer. The proximal end, when the silencer is assembled, forms that, meaning that it doesn't exist. Actually, the blast chamber of the silencer does not exist until it's assembled. You understand? Like that, because the core itself is forming it with its first flat plate. So what it's doing, it's allowing initial expansion and jetting to impinge upon that flat plate. It's very, very, I guess you could say evenly distributed, which is an important term. It's an evenly distributed load. Symmetrically, evenly distributed, uniform jet loading on a flat plate with a hole in the center. That's your load condition, okay? This is, or it can be, I'll say, let me just qualify that. This can be very important for precision. Specifically, very important for precision of projectile flight. Why do we have to worry about such impingement being symmetrical with regard to projectile flight? It's because the gas will outrun the projectile. You want to avoid early cross-jetting. Okay, it's very important, especially in this application. So after this sequence, this initial early time sequence, as you enter that first chamber through that primary orifice, your main bore flow, it's still at a very, very, very high pressure. And it's allowed to expand, further cool. And this process is going to happen 7 more times through the silencer. And after each slant washer pair that you expand through and cool through, there's a very large volumetric chamber in the sequence, and that chamber does grow in size as you go to the distal end. Okay, so this is the physical reason why I use the words progressive volumetric expansion. I'm not just saying words because they're like a marketing. No one said that about this silencer. I'm telling you this is what it's doing. Okay, so please be careful. Don't think I'm saying marketing words or something like that. You will know if I'm saying like calling a technology by a trademark or something from a company. You'll know. Okay, when I'm talking about physics, you'll know. I don't mix them. Okay, don't mix them. I don't want to mix them and confuse you. So this progressive volumetric expansion in the silencer, it's playing to the primary thrust of it's like the entire name of the game, man. The name of the game is expansion and simultaneous turbulence generation without disrupting the bullet flight with cross-jetting. Okay, that is so important. You want to expand the gases, cool them, create turbulence to increase heat transfer efficiency, slow the gases down to let the projectile continue with minimal interference, slow the gas transmittance to atmosphere. This is the simplest example of a silencer. Okay? A simple controlled gas trap. Simple controlled gas trap. A gas throttle trap, actually, in one of the simplest ways possible. Okay? And to top it all off, this AC22, you see how it's working. You're feeling it. You're feeling it. You're feeling me. You're listening. You see the physics. You're getting it. You're visualizing like a computational fluid dynamics simulations in your head because you're really seeing this. You understand. Now take all of that thing that I just told you. Now do it with aluminum. Okay. Both the entire baffle core and the tube, both aluminum. Yes, both aluminum. Okay. So any heat transfer that's occurring through that metal should be done so with maximum surface area contact, would be my advice. Okay? For whatever geometry you're using. And you would probably want to use the highest thermal conductivity possible. That would be my advice. Okay? So when you look at this silencer, well, did they do that? Well, yes and no. I mean, in the interest of probably what I assume to be a low-cost budgetary constraint, you really have minimal machining here. You don't have any added surface roughness, but you still get enough turbulence, clearly. I mean, we see that in the data. You still get enough turbulence. You still get enough heat transfer. You still get enough gas expansion delay to result in what you see in Figure 1A. Okay, so now you know why what you see in Figure 1 is happening. You know for sure. Low amplitude for a long duration. You know, efficient gas expansion in the silencer that is stalled and has a longer vent time. And to be clear, we've seen this before. We've seen it before. And I mean, look on the website. You see it in the CAT SR, yeah? But it's different. It's different there. Yeah. Why? Well, CAT SR, the flow rate's higher. Pressure wave more decoupled though. What? It's almost like those two things are diametrically opposed. Well, they would be in normal technologies, but they got special sauce. Fine. In the Savage AC22, you actually get something different than the SR. Let's look. Look at the early time behavior of the pressure field. The same thing we were just talking about. Let's look at early time in Figure 1B. So that's the chart next to the Figure 1A. Okay, we're still in Figure 1. We're just in B. We just zoomed in a little bit, dude. Everything's coupled there. And this is actually a little nuance that I don't know if people caught this. So same type of pressure wave you got in the SR test. It's here. It's the same. It's also here in the AC22 test. It's the same thing, but there's coincident jet velocity nesting with a pulse that continues at a steady rate, and that's really what's really driving the difference here. So what ends up happening in this case? Like, besides the pressure field differences, what do you get? What do you get as a differentiator between both of these very quiet silencers? What's the kind of the I don't know, not the finale, but like the main course? Well, you get a different impulse accumulation. The jet velocity and the rate at which the expanding gases are propagating from the simple staged volume of this staged volumetric gas expansion AC22 monocore. That's a mouthful. The rate at which the gases are expanding, it builds impulse to a greater extent in the positive phase. And you actually see it in figure 2. Let's scroll down. I got to scroll down because I have a bunch of windows, and I can't show the whole thing to myself when I'm talking to you as well. Figure 2. That's right. Impulse space. Now, what are we doing? Are we still in the time domain? Ladies and gentlemen, we are still in the time domain. We are. We're all still in the time domain. But we're in a different space. Okay, different amplitude. Okay, still in time domain. We're still in the looking at how the amplitude in the space varies with time. We're just not looking at pressure anymore. We're looking at impulse. What's another word for impulse? Momentum transfer potential of the wave. Did you know that waves have particle momentum that have the potential to transfer to other things? They do. I know that sometimes people think that wave momentum and particle momentum is controversial to talk about, but have no fear. It is indeed real. Trust. It is, no, but it is. And there's some great papers I can show you if you have a doubt. And I know that some people do. Some people might even show you impulse plots and they might not know what they are. That happens too. Some people show you pressure plots and they might not know what they are, but you do. And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe said so. When you look at figure 2, when you look at the rate at which the maximum positive phase impulse is reached, when you look at the duration of the positive phase impulse in figure 2 for this test, it might help you to also go look at the CAT SR review, because it might not be like immediately apparent to you. I don't know. The AC22 is super consistent, but it's also a touch more severe. So, you can like wax poetic about this all day, and you can convince yourself of a lot of stuff. You might go down a rabbit hole that you don't need to go down. Okay, you don't want to get like there's a difference. Science is one thing, engineering is another, and let's kind of talk pragmatism. It's good to be pragmatic. What's the difference to the bottom line here as an observer? If you were shooting these two silencers, the AC22 and the CAT SR, on a bolt gun like this with this type of ammunition, what is the bottom line? Well, that's about 2 suppression rating points at the muzzle at the extreme end of the scale. That's the bottom line. Is it a lot? I mean, yes and no. I mean, no, in that both of these systems are so quiet in the bolt gun. If you're the shooter, dude, the firing pin noise is probably way more important to you at this point. The muzzle blast is contributing. Don't get it twisted. I mean, the muzzle blast does still contribute to the suppression rate of the shooters here with the bolt gun. Trust. It is. Indeed, it is. We see that. It is contributing. We measured it. It is real. It's not just the firing pin. I know you're hearing the firing pin. Is the muzzle blast also contributing to what your ear is subjected to? Yes. Okay. But at these levels, man, it's close for most humans in the free field. It's close, dude. It's close. So that's the no about the a lot question. Now, on the other hand, at these levels, it does show you that I don't know, man. There are levels to this. Indeed, there are levels to this. When something is quieter in the testing, on paper, with analysis, at this range of the scale, it does show you there's some room. There's some headroom here for performance. And I think knowing that toward the end of the scale is good. And that actually brings me to a point that I think is really important. And, I want to talk about pragmatism a little bit here, which I think is important. We got a question on social media on the day of publication. I believe it was on the Reddit, the NFA subreddit. Shout out, powerful NFA subreddit. There's some really, really great people there. Mostly really great people. This later gentleman asked, I'm going to paraphrase it. I don't remember exactly what their question, the way they worded it, but I'm going to paraphrase it. I think I got their point. Their point was, man, this is a 94.5 composite suppression rating. What happens when you hit 100? Are you guys going to have to adjust the scale? Oh my God, our pets' heads are falling off. My answer was, first of all, a great question. I think it was actually an incredible question with a ton of foresight. That person must either have silencers or know about them and understand, I guess, the bigger picture, because it is an important question in the bigger picture here. We thought about it a long time ago, what we were going to do, because, we couldn't possibly test every single thing ever and then adopt the scale. I mean, we could have fudged it, but I didn't want to do it like that. I wanted to maintain a resolution. So the answer here is that we are going to peg the scale. Okay, we're going to peg it at the high end, almost certainly, and we're going to peg it at the low end. Yes, that's right. We're going to peg it at the low end too. And when that happens, for a publication that you folks will see on the website, our plan is to leave it pegged. Okay? Do not Google pegging. Just do not Google that. There was a meme on Instagram. It was funny. Just don't. I'm not using it in that context. Okay? You don't want to know what that is. There's a family show. We do not plan on delineating metrics past 100 on the scale. Okay? We made that decision. So what I told that lady or gentleman is that the suppression rating scale is designed to capture a resolution that is appropriate for typical suppressed small arms. In that respect, we feel that it has granularity for the systems of interest. For user hazard reduction is really the thrust there. And all of that is in the regime of use for the weapons. Okay, now, once you hit 100 and something gets a little quieter, I mean, it's really cool academically. Don't get me wrong. That is, I mean, do you think I don't want to know? Do you think I don't? Do you think that I think that you don't want to know? No. Trust me. I know how sick for this you are. I know what kind of lunatic some of you are. I mean, you don't have to tell me about being a lunatic. Have you seen the website? Okay. So it's cool academically, and I say cool in all definitions of cool. I 100% sincerely tell you, yeah, I want to see what hits 109. But in practicality, it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't. I don't care. Yes, I think it's cool. Do all cool things matter? No, dude. Not in the real world. Doesn't matter. So it's not worth it. It's not worth it to us to really start to quantify things like that in the public standard. I don't care. Because it doesn't matter for public health. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It takes away from there's a lot of detriments to doing that, and there's no reason to do it. It blurs the line into ways that creates minutia that frankly is unproductive. And to be clear, that's not to say we don't quantify the difference. It's just the suppression rating was created for the public market. It is presented with public data utility in mind. I am not going to go down a road of academic circle jerk with the entire internet that may or may not be qualified to even discuss what the time domain is, frankly. I mean, you know what I mean? So there's levels to this. Like at some point you have to say, look, man, we're trying to educate, but you can lead a horse to water, and frankly, some people haven't had a drink in ages, and they know where the trough is. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm using too many metaphors or whatever, but you get my drift. 1 second. So I hope it makes sense. Hope it gives us some context with regard to just how quiet systems like this are. I mean, when we talk about hitting 100, I mean, what does that even mean? Have you seriously, have you shot a bolt action, like a long barrel, like a 16-inch bolt gun with CCI standard velocity with a quiet silencer? Have you shot one in the middle of the free field and realized how quiet it is? If you haven't, you might not understand the level that we're talking about here. It's not normal, dude. And if you really need to know how quiet, if something's quieter than that, you have a very specific application that probably involves like premeditated murder, which might be sanctioned because you're a soldier. Other than that, I mean, it's a weapon. So what are you doing? Why is it because you really, really, really need to shoot that possum and you can't have it be quieter than you have to have it be quieter than a firing pin because you're going to wake your kid? I question why you really want, you know what I mean? It's like, let's be, come on. Jay doesn't think we should own tactical nukes. He doesn't believe in the Second Amendment. Okay. Okay, Ranger Rick. I'm telling you, I'm serious. When you're operating a fixed weapon system with no reciprocation, like a bolt gun, and you're using this type of ammunition and this type of silencer, The system really does sound like a non-firearm, guys. I even given the disclaimer in many of these types of articles, we want people to realize these are not toys, dude. These are weapons. They are intended to kill. That's why they exist. I like to target practice. Yeah, you like to target practice so you can be better at killing. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, but don't hide from that. Oh, I just don't think we harvest our animals. No, dude, you're murdering animals to eat them because they taste good. Just relax, okay? It is important to respect the weapons you're using. They're made for murder, dude. They are. Self-defense, murder, yes. All these things, very important, very good. I'm telling you, it's important to respect the weapons. They're not toys. That is our stance. That is my personal stance, okay? So, sure, this is quiet, but it's no less dangerous. Okay, it's no less dangerous. Firearms are tools. Suppressed weapon systems are enhanced tools. Use them appropriately. Okay, that's my soapbox for that. Now let's get back to the physics. Turn your attention back to figure 2. Sorry, my throat's dry. 1 second, dude. I'm dying over here. Okay, figure 2. I do want to take a second in this impulse. Still looking at impulse in the time domain. I do want to take a second to highlight the incredible consistency of the AC22. Incredible consistency, and particularly the lack of FRP here, guys. Particularly, you do see FRP in pressure space. You do. You can't hide it. It's there. True, but you look closely. There is also actually FRP in impulse space. Technically, there is a higher. Yes. It's because it's a physical phenomena. It's measurable, but the degree to which it's occurring and the mechanism it is presenting with, it's all showing in our analysis that users really aren't going to be subjected to a severity that's higher than the shots after the first one. Okay. The consistency is amazing. And the consistency you're seeing, it's happening from the first shot onward. It's like from the first drop to the last or something. Isn't that like a marketing thing for like, is that a Coca-Cola or like good to the last drop? Wait, what's good to the last drop? Is that coffee? Folgers? Coca-Cola? It's funny how like the things my brain goes to both have caffeine. I may or may not be on a lot of caffeine right now. It helps me think when I'm tired. Anyway, good from the first shot onward. Very strong. Very, very strong performance. I was surprised, actually. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, this is not a dig of Savage. I was surprised. Okay, I opened the silencer. I was like, really? Monocore? Okay. Let's see how she runs. Then I shot it, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess it's quiet. It's strong. I mean, it's quiet, consistent. It's light. I think it's showing, and this is actually, I got a kick out of this. It's showing what you can do with classic technology with smart implementation. Okay, I'd almost call this a sleeper, man. It's like those weird little trucks and cars, like a Ford Taurus or something, right? You see it pull up to the light. There's this little like middle-aged dude in it, like he's like, yeah, he's like in there, and there's a Ford Taurus, and you get like some kid in a Mustang or some like young YouTuber in a GTR or something. Like, I know that sounds crazy. I've seen it happen. And then like the Mustang dude or the GTR dude tries to race this guy on the Taurus, and the Taurus just smokes them. Like, it's not even close. Like, I feel like that's the AC22 here in some ways. It's like really incredible performance, and it's a total sleeper. And maybe it's not going to smoke other silencers. I mean, it might. I don't know. We haven't shown you like really loud 22 silencers. They're like terribly loud. That's not a good word. Don't say terrible. It'll make people sad. Terribly loud. Sorry, I used that. That adverb. Terribly. See, if you use terrible as an adverb, it's okay. If you use it as an adjective, then you're an asshole. Right? This is terribly, terribly loud is like the British way to say it. The dumb American way. That's terrible. You use it as an adjective, dude. You're mean. Right? Sorry, I cursed. Sorry, kids. Now, if you're a member, I do encourage you to check out the member data. You guys are going to see a lot of why the actual host does matter. That's incredibly important. Is it important on all systems from 22 to 50 BMG? You bet it is. And at these levels of suppression, you can start to see the really wild contribution of the muzzle blast momentum in accordance with action noise. And you just get to see because I just want, again, for the people who have shot one of these systems in the free field, you're concentrating, you're looking at that armadillo. Yeah, he's been digging up your garden. You're going to pop him in the face, and you squeeze that trigger. You hear the click, and you hear the f, and that f is from the precursor and pressure wave from the subsonic projectile, followed by muzzle blast out of the silencer. And you hearing that in later time, and by later time, I mean like a little bit later than the click and combustion in the weapon. That's all nested. But when you really think about it, now that you've seen this data and you really pay attention, because you don't have to wear hearing protection because this is so incredibly quiet in the free field, you'll really see like, oh, that's what we're hearing. Like the weapon is really mattering here. It is really affecting what I hear. It's not just the gunshot. It's the weapon. Okay? And this is a bolt gun. We're not even talking about ejection port signature from an AR. We're talking about just firing mechanism. Where your cheek is on the stock. How do you hold the rifle? Are you fancy? You know what I mean? So at these levels, when you shoot the gun, you're going to hear things that it should make you realize in practicality that the very nature of the gun you are using is influencing what you hear. Very important concept. Very important concept for a suppressed weapon system enthusiast to understand. Yes, you like silencers, but what are silencers used for? Do you put them on your desk to look at? Well, some of us do. What do you really put? You put them on firearms. What do they become? It's not just a silencer. It's not just a gun. It's a suppressed weapon system, okay? This stuff, it's influencing what you hear. Our data shows it. It shows it in this article. The waveforms of the shooter's ear, they show you it. This is real time. Okay, but hold that thought, because we're gonna go more in the next topic. I'm gonna yell at you more. 1 second. He's unhinged. Something's wrong with him. He yells. For context, which is important, let's be honest, in all the research, which is to some people the most important thing, and something people are getting mad at me for it, which you should. Good, get mad. It's important for you to use emotion against strangers. Scroll further down for context in the article and get to Figure 5, which is the bar chart. It compares what we've tested publicly on this host weapon, yes, to date. The 16-inch bolt action rifle. I want to do me a favor. Pull up the chart on your phone or your screen. Don't be driving, because what I'm going to tell you right now is going to be super dangerous for driving. So don't be driving. Don't do that. Do not die looking at this podcast. I'm going to be so pissed. I think we have a perfect record. No one's died. Knock on wood, right? Okay. We have a zero OSHA record. No, that's not true. Definitely hurt myself testing. But we have a zero death rate, which is pretty good, right, for now. So yeah, good statistic to have. It's been however many days since fatality. You put a little sign up. Figure 5 bar chart. Let your eyes blur out of focus when you're looking at this chart. Okay, you're gonna see something here right away. Just squint so you can't see, but you can see the colors, but you just can't make out what it says, but you can see the colors, right? You're going to see something right away. Everything looks pretty close. Take away your preconceived notions. Take away your brand fanboyism and loyalty. Take away the names. Take away the numbers. Just let your eyes blur and just go to that place of, oh, dude, look at the bars. Everything's really close, except that one thing, right? That the little oculus in the short configuration is a little louder. Okay. Yeah, then you might think those bars are creeping a little bit far to the left. You know what? For this system, I think you're allowed to think that, because it's true. What, you want the quietest thing or not? I'm not saying it's not quiet, but you want the quietest thing or not? You know what I mean? It's all about what you want. Why is it when you squint your eyes and why is it that everything looks pretty close on that chart? Well, it's 16-inch bolt action 22 with subsonic camo. It is suppression on easy mode. Okay? This isn't a YouTube video where we're going to call something Hollywood quiet because it's quiet. No. I'm going to tell you, yeah, the Savage silencer is quiet, but it's not exactly working hard. It's 5.9 inches long. Okay? It's not a Wunderkind from some exotic planet that we've never seen with alien technology. No, it's a simple monocore and it's designed correctly. It's not a bad silencer, but it's also not it's not like a monolith that came in the middle of the desert and you're like, what? Where did we get this? Oh my God. It's in the computer and you're like hitting like a monkey. It's like, no. Okay, it's 16-inch bolt action 22 is suppression on easy mode, but this is doing a great job. Savage is doing incredible work here, not just in the overall suppression, which, yes, we know it's high, but the consistency. Very good, especially for a monocore like this, man. It's super important for a 22 silencer. One second. Super important for a 22 silencer. There have certainly, and this is important, and some of you might not know this. I've said this before. It might be old hat to some of you, but there have certainly been other silencers on the market in history, particularly monocore models, that had incredible inconsistency, and in multiple ways, both in first round pop and shot to shot consistency, and even precision issues due to cross jetting making bullets unstable. Oh no! That's right. Tons of issues that have occurred very publicly in the silencer history record, the historical record. So, again, I am personally impressed, and I do think it's good to see a silencer like this doing work. We have not done precision testing on this model ourselves. That is an important disclaimer to give you, but we have received good feedback from those who have, so we don't believe this to be a disaster like a silencer that shall not be named that happened in the past. There was a 22 can. I don't want to start drama, so I'm not going to say it now. Okay, so I guess to wrap this up a little bit, I do want you to remember, and I want to tie this into something else. I do want you to remember that this is one host, and I want you to think about what would happen when you put this on a short barrel semi-automatic pistol. I do also want to tell you that's not a loaded question, that's a teaser or something, because I actually don't know. We have not tested this on a semi-automatic pistol. Could be great. Could give some blowback. I don't know. I'm looking at the core right now. I'm like, I have some guesses, but, sometimes guesses are wrong, and I don't want to, rain on a parade if I don't have to do that. I don't want to be that guy. We tend to not give any conclusions to you without some pretty solid empirical evidence. That's part of our mandate. We do not, quote unquote, review a silencer and tell you something that's not based in reality, because then you wouldn't trust us anymore, and that would completely ruin all credibility, and that would be bad. There'd be no reason to even look at this, right? So I don't want to start and be like, well, I think if I put it on this silencer, well, no. It could have some, what I'm telling you is it could have some high back pressure, but it might not have a back pressure that is so high that it matters. It really depends. And I don't know enough without testing it because of the volumetric expansion of the silencer to really know what's going to happen. And I'm not ashamed to say I don't know. Those that say they do know, well, they're either smarter or they're lying. So I can give you the over-under on that. Just in general. I'm not saying I'm the smartest person. I'm definitely not, but there's a lot of stuff we don't know. And the more you learn, the more you don't know. The more you realize you don't know. I think stay tuned. We'll probably test on a pistol. I think if you put it on a pistol, you're not going to be disappointed. Again, there's levels to the game, though. And we've tested some humdingers on a pistol. So I want to be very careful how I explain it to you. Understand? So in all that uncertain tiptoe tap dance discussion around the point, the bottom line here is that host matters. Are all silencers created equal on all hosts? If you move a silencer from one host to another and do that with another silencer and do that with yet another silencer, does performance change in the same way with all three silencers? Like if you have one silencer and you're like, well, I'm going to change my host, and you put it on a different gun, and then you have that's silencer A, and then you have silencer B, and you're like, well, I'm gonna move that to that gun too. Oh, I have silencer C. I'm gonna move that to that gun too. Did you change? And you agree? You all agree that performance changes when you change hosts. On all three of those silencers, does performance change the same way? Does it? Absolutely not. Can it scale the same way? Well, yes, it could. Will it always? No, not always. Is it a function of the silencer technology? Sure. But that can be a cop-out, because guess what? It's also a function of host technology. Yes. Systems have multiple components. Okay, I want to do that justice, at least initially here. This wild concept. Let's move into topic 2 at a time of 1 hour, 0 minutes, and 55 seconds. That's as good a time as any. Topic 2, host variability. Yeah, we led you right down into that path. Host variability, the holistic system making the determination of true performance. And which system of all the systems would be the most susceptible to a large performance swing for I don't know, for anyone or the operator, given what people do to their hosts? I would hazard a guess that it would be the AR, the Armor Light Rifle system. I would say it's the AR. And it's wild because we have a lot of internal research going on, and we've actually been doing this for quite some time now, and you haven't seen any of it. Some hosts are just like poorly behaved, in my opinion. I think that's my personal opinion. I just don't. I thought I don't like them, and I think if I had my way, we would probably use only, like, I don't know, only like certain host types for testing. I really have had my way mostly. Like, I'm pretty dictatorial in that way. Dictatorial. Every now and again, I do ask you all for your opinions. To be clear, none of us really know what we don't know, right? Like, that's the problem. It's really hard to deal with those unknown unknowns. It's really hard to deal with those parts. Like, I don't like those. Like, you don't know what you don't know, and I don't. It bothers me sometimes, and so I don't want to be too vague. Like, what's one host type that's pretty predictable overall, right? Like, let's baseline it here. Like, when I say predictable, like, I mean predictable overall with technologies. Like, even if the technologies are crazy and like the silencers are super crazy, what's one host type that's pretty predictable? Bolt gun. Okay. Bolt guns are relatively predictable when you use standard high quality ammo and you test correctly. Like that, I am sure. We've pretty much shown it to be true, which is pretty great. Okay, like, and if there's people that don't think that's true, and they haven't looked at the data set, well, I invite you to look at the 154 articles that are published on the website, and then come tell me that. Okay, because I really like at this point don't. And you got to come correct if you're going to say that you don't think they're consistent. I think they're consistent. So when do you start to get some high variability? And remember, and don't. I'm trying to anticipate a naysayer. It's not that you aren't getting variability with a bolt gun. Okay, I'm not saying that. You know that some silencers like higher pressure better than others. And so some silencers are going to do better on a short barrel bolt gun than others. Blah, blah. Yes, I know. But I'm talking about more in-your-face variability. Okay, let's talk about the Armor Light Rifle, the AR. Of all the weapon platforms, the AR-15 is ridiculous as a silencer testing platform. I just want to tell you that. It is ridiculous. We have seen things in our testing that occur and continue to blow our mind. And I'm afraid, this is a genuine fear, it is a function of weapon system parameters that have too much user control. I'm not telling you I don't want you to have freedom. That's not what I'm saying. But there's in any engineered system, when you let the user turn too many knobs, it just I use the collective we are getting concerned about this. The gas port sizes, the dwell lengths, the barrel lengths, there's a hodgepodge of things going on. There are certain ways to control for some of this. In some respects, you almost have to tune the gun and use a tuned hose for testing, and it's something we really, 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 really do not want to do. It's just not practical. So I want to say, as we continue to publish data, I do want you to know, I really need you to understand this. There are things that happen in weapon systems that are complicated, and they do not scale. And we're really going to great lengths to ensure the data analysis you see on the website is as apples to apples as practically possible within the practical constraints of a viable consumer-facing effort. Okay, that's the way I'm going to say that. But the disclaimer here is that when you go pick up your brand new silencer and you take it home and you put it on your rifle that differs from what we've tested in the standard, some of you are going to have better experiences than what we show. Some of you are going to have worse experiences than what we show. And some of you are going to have identical experiences. One of my jobs, one of them, is to make sure whichever of the three groups you fall in, you understand that you might fall in one of them. And you understand why you might fall in one of them. That's my job. Okay? That's what I'm trying to communicate. As we go forward, I really, really want to try to help. And to the extent I can, I have. Or to the extent I've been able to, I have. I think so. And this is a lot of high-level generality. One second. I do understand that. Like, you might get lost and not know what I'm saying. So let's be specific. Let's pick on something specific. Let's talk, 6-ARC. Talk about that? Okay. 6mm advanced rifle cartridge. Some of you know that we've been doing testing, contractual testing for that for various people. It's got a big case. It's a gas gun. A lot of gas momentum. A lot of high pressure round. What happens when you take a silencer and you go shoot it on a 6-ARC AR? I can tell you unequivocally that nobody listening to this knows the answer to that question. And why can I say that? Well, because who is making the standard 6-ARC host that everyone's using and everyone's shooting? Well, you're going to go buy your BCM, your Daniel Defense 6-ARC? Really? Oh, those don't exist? Oh, that's right. That's right, because there's no consensus, is there? No, there's not. It's a Wild West right now, dude. It's a Wild West. You think because the AR-15 is a standardized platform, you can just grab an off-the-shelf gun and throw a silencer on it and know what to do? Dude, it's not that simple. The bolt, the gas system length, the port size, the buffer size, the type of buffer, the weight, the magazines. I'm telling you right now, it's a free-for-all, dude. It's a free-for-all. Have you ever heard someone talk about a Glock like that? Have you ever heard someone talk about a bolt gun they hunt with like that? No. Less knobs, dude. You have so many knobs you're turning, and now you're going to switch cartridges? I actually had a conversation with a client about this, and they agreed, and I can tell you, you might get a sneak peek at the ridiculousness. I think we're getting permission to show you something we did. We'll see how it pans out. I don't know that I'll show it to you next week because there's something else I need to show you. Different client for that, but different project, different contract. But soon. In the strange ether sense of soon, I want to show you guys a case of tuning. and what can happen and not happen, and what may scale and not scale. I want to show you some results. I want to show you one of the programs we did recently showed what I believe to be some scaling to performance in a way I'm not sure people are really anticipating. Hopefully I can show you that one. Another test program we've done might show some interesting scaling to this, like just a different host type that was used for a specific reason for specific silencers. And it's going to come down, I think, to matching technologies to the host in the most optimized way for the end user. I think that's really, at the end of the day, what I try to do with my own stuff, and I think what a lot of you try to do too. Like if you did, again, I think I posed this question to you. Like, if you take silencer A and you put it on your AR, and you tune your AR for that silencer, right? Like, are you going to get the similar result to silencer B on that same tuned AR? Probably not. And it's probably not, right? Let's take the more, like, forget about that case, because some people are like, well, I'm not going to tune it, so okay, fine, good. Let's look at a different case. Take the silencer A and put it on a tuned AR, not tuned for your silencer, but like, let's call it, for lack of a better term, this rifle has a suppressor optimized gas port with a low dwell time. Like, that's like marketing speak for, we shrunk the gas port a little bit and we put it further toward the muzzle because we think that it's going to help you not be as overgassed with your silencer. Fair? Okay. Put silencer A on that system, and then put silencer B on that system. Do you think you're going to get a similar result? Probably not. And what if you're like, but Jay, my dwell time is super duper low. It's going to help me. A new company made this rifle, this barrel, and the dwell time's super low. You said, Jay, that dwell time, if it's low, will that help you? Well, maybe not, dude. It might not help you, depending on your silencer. I mean, and some of you might think, well, I'm not getting gassed out, everything's fine. Well, I'm here to tell you, with certain cartridges, I think you're still leaving performance on the table, even with a tuned gun. And if your silencer doesn't play well with it, that's going to highlight that fact. And that's going to be harsh reality for some people. And the way, and it's kind of delicate, the way to talk about this, because you don't want to piss everyone off at the same time. I mean, we pissed enough people off already. You know, you tell the truth, people get mad, but that's fine. The way we're going to present it, I think, we've been toying with this, and we have got at least one client permission to do it like this. We might do like a short performance brief, and still include it in the standard. And this is not something we're going to be offering like all the time. This is just something, it's part of a very large program, and it's just something that we will end up still satisfying our contract without like having to write a dissertation, which frankly takes away from, in my opinion and my experience, time for other things that you need to see. So we'll probably go with the short performance brief format. We will still include it in the standard, so the ratings that are shown will stand. They will be included in the rankings table, regardless of applicability you may or may not agree with. Okay, so I'm trying to compromise on all sides here. Some of the things that we might put in there, and to be clear, this is both member-funded data and client-funded data, and I do consider you members clients in some ways. So to be clear, this is not like, we're not playing favorites. We're not doing this is a general Pew Science research direction we've chosen to talk about publicly that we usually don't. Some of these things might be like one-off hosts. Like you saw one, right, a long time ago, the surge upper from Maxim for the DSX. So you saw that. So this isn't completely new to you. You even saw a 6.5 Creedmoor rifle test for the Hyperion back, like you saw that too. So okay, there is precedent. So some of it might be one-off hosts. Some of it might be lesser known cartridges like 6ARC, just because and I don't want to spend a lot of time on that cartridge. Frankly, I don't think it's important yet. But know this. all of this line of discussion, all of these questions, all of these test programs, all of phenomenology that we studied, the client questions, the joy, the tears, and believe me, there have been tears. All of the discoveries have reminded me of something we've been trying to explain for a long time. Whether it be the MP5 testing, the pistol testing on 9mm, or the rimfire pistol testing, the bolt gun testing we explained in the last topic for the Savage silencer, or any article we published on the website, suppressed weapon systems are systems. The silencer alone does not dictate the performance. Your weapon, your ammo, your surroundings, and then the silencer, guys. Don't forget it, man. Whatever we publish for some of these niche cases, I want to make sure they highlight appropriately some lessons learned, okay? And I want those lessons for people to keep in mind for other cases that might not fit into the mold of typical silencer system performance. Okay, so some of that will be coming. Okay, I think this will have some 5.56 stuff in it as well. I'm not going to, trust me, I'm not going to spend all this time on some kind of niche 6-arc land with like, oh, we got to use the curved mags. Well, what mags? How come I keep getting jams? I don't know. Joe Bob's didn't. I don't know. Dude, I have yet to talk to a real person out in the wild that has shot 1,000 rounds through a 6-arc AR and not had a malfunction. If you're real, tell me and then prove it. Because, well, you don't have to prove it. I'll believe you, but I doubt you. I doubt you have. So trust me, I'm not going to focus on something that's not even real yet. I mean, it's real, but is it? You know what I mean? Oh, you should do 6 max. No, stop. No, are you sure you don't want to do a Wildcat? Are you sure? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's like, do you even see 8.6 on the website yet? Come on, guys. Relax. So trust me, I'm not going to leave you out to dry and start to do these niche cartridges to prove points. No. I'm also going to show you some stuff on stuff you use all the time, like 5.56, because I want you to understand this. Okay, so, and it might have to be some case studies over several article cycles. So hey, you might not see this until fourth quarter, but I'm just trying to prep you because I want you to start thinking about systems. I think it's a worthwhile discussion. This is a very topical issue internally for Pew Science and some of our clients. So I want to let you know that, like, we don't just look in a vacuum like, oh, Pew Science tests on the Mark 18 all the time. I wish they would stop doing that. It's like, well, we have stopped doing that in a lot of cases. But when you have a big data set and you want to compare apples to apples, what, you want us to change the host every time? Think. We need we have data utility. Yes, we have a 14.5 host too, but there's problems with that as well. All right? Not every host is created equal. And I can tell you right now, the Mark 18, guys, for all its flaws, dwell time's short. Okay? So I'll leave you with that. We might even take some feedback from users and members that I think is really actually well taken and important, and maybe change some of the data presentation a little bit to give you guys a little bit of a way to look at the parameters in a different light. That might help too. Okay, we're trying to evolve a little bit, but we're also trying to remain practical and stretch a little bit without throwing the baby out with the bathwater, as it were. Okay. Still toying with some things. It's a work in progress. So please, I would ask that you stay safe out there. It's hot. Make sure to be hydrated. It can help you if you drink Gatorade or something. The Gatorade Zero with no sugar. Like, drink that like if you're going to be out all day, like, drink in the morning when you're not even thirsty yet. Preload those electrolytes. It'll help you last longer outside. This is my little safety tip of the day. Stay safe out there. Okay. I'll talk with you folks again soon. All right. Bye.